What's the difference between resolved and unresolved generational trauma from a somatic, energetic point of view?
The unresolved trauma or the unresolved intensity that lives in our nervous system is hypervigilant, very defensive and very reactive and hyperprotective. In other words, you're going to avoid conflict. You're going to avoid meaningful conflict. So you may literally just shut down, stonewall, check out mentally, or physically leave the space, or you'll be highly argumentative, highly defensive. You raise your voice, try and get power over, right? You will see the world through a lens of mistrust as opposed to trust. So you're more hypervigilant. That disrupts relationships and ruptures relationships. It's very difficult when that unresolved, unprocessed stuff lives in our body and those physiological loops are closed. Somatically, you're feeling tension in your body. You may have psychosomatic symptoms, indigestion, acid reflux, cancer, anything, man, tumors, or you name it, like gout, whatever. I don't know. There's a large body of work. Dr. Sarno, Sarno, as an example, is a large body of work on psychosomatic processing of trauma, if you like, or emotions that are suppressed due to a relational conflict or relational challenge that then manifests in physical form, right? And he's not the only one. He's just the prominent one that comes to mind. Great body of work. He's passed away now, but many, many years in that space, decades. So, it's going to manifest that way. It's going to manifest as abrasiveness or impatience or reactivity or aggression, hyper-aggression, a carelessness for other humans, for self-loathing, a lack of self-care, insecurity about self that is compensated for, anxiousness in terms of relationships, like I need this person, like higher levels of codependence. When we've got unresolved stuff, we're very codependent. We start to move into pathology as well. Like we become more obsessive compulsive on that spectrum, right? So we need things in a particular way in our lives, in our environments, in the way we do things in our relationships for us to feel okay. Codependence, right? Not to simplify or minimize or reduce the notion of codependence is very important, and understanding it so that we can move beyond it and through it. But that essentially is what it is, right? And so when you see that person that has greater resolution in their system, they're more self-aware, they're more attuned to their needs, and they're more attuned to themselves, meaning that they can ask for what they want. They have power, empowerment in their voice. Essentially, if I distill this, right, and I speak a lot about this in this book, but my next book goes a lot deeper into belongingness and disempowerment and empowerment. Essentially, it's this journey from disempowerment, which you can just call trauma or intensity and so forth, to empowerment. Person that has resolution there, that isn't carrying generations prior trauma, habits, patterns in that family system, is lighter and they're more empowered in their voice, in their actions. They believe in themselves, right? They can have mature conversations. They're more curious. They're more compassionate. They don't jump so quickly. They're not threatened so easily, right? It's like you see, pro fighters as an example, like, they're facing off with each other and someone throws something, they don't flinch. They're just regulated, man. They're cool. They don't need to flick. They know. They know that it's not even that person's pretending. They're reading. They're so attuned to their body and to their environment that they know the way that person's throwing that fling in that hand, it's not going to hit them. It's nothing. It's not going to even happen. And even if it did, it's not a problem. So they're just calm. From a relational and sociological perspective, that's where that regulated person comes in. So they're more regulated, right? They're more attuned to nature. They're more embodied, right? They're not running from themselves. They're in less bad habits or destructive habits such as overeating or drinking. They're less in compensation, and they have a greater ability to be with pain and difficult situations or challenge. They're more resilient. So they're more mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically resilient and tough as well. And toughness is, the way I describe it, and I can't remember where I've read this or where I got this from, but the way I describe toughness is our ability to move through challenge and difficulty, and then resilience is our ability to recover from challenge or difficulty, right? Or painful experiences, so forth. I feel in the adjective that describes that scenario. So I think there's there's some big differences in someone that is dysregulated and regulated, and someone that is still running patterns of trauma and holding on to what was passed to them or what they were victimized to, as opposed to someone that isn't.
Yeah, it's certainly something that I don't want to use the word guilty of, but it's certainly something that's been prevalent in my life, and certainly something I see with a lot of clients at certain points. Trying my best with how our program's set up to avoid that and teach them other ways through actual visceral experiences. But I was like, labelling your patterns and moving through them are two very different things. And we're in the world of this information where people, that's because I'm avoiding, or because of this, or that my love language hasn't been met.
You've got to feel what's been unfelt. That's a big part of, that's a big distinction as well between someone that's embodied and disembodied, or regulated, dysregulated, or, trauma driven and less trauma driven. Is you've got to feel what was unfelt at the time of inception of that intensity, right? Because that's the thing that's stored in your body that's keeping you hypervigilant, that's keeping you risk averse, that's keeping you not trusting, that's keeping you choosing the same men or women that are just no good for you, right? Or not aligned with where you want to go and who you want to be and who you are. And so you've got to feel it. And it's not to repeat the patterns of the past and keep retelling the stories, although reframing and retelling stories plays a critical part in the healing and wholeness journey. But often it's prioritized too much at the beginning. It's more towards the end. Not the end, but the end of that cycle, so to speak. You've got to feel. You've got to let go. For me, it's very simple. The prey that escapes the predator in the wild, if it escapes, will go shake. That's it. Get it out.
Urinate.
Yeah. Dump those stress hormones. Go on about its business. We don't do that. The tremendous advantage we have, but also disadvantage, is this complex psychology that we have. So we suppress and repress. But that lives in us. It lives in our cells. It lives in our physiology. So we have to move it through. It's very uncomfortable. We want to avoid it like the plague because it's very uncomfortable. And like we said at the beginning, we're pain-avoiding, pleasure-seeking beings. But that's where, that's where relationality comes in. That's where working with someone, being supported, it takes a village to raise a child. Like, get your peers around you, get them witnessing you. There's something very special that happens when you are witnessing your vulnerability and your shame and your pain and your expression of that, and you're met with love and endearment and connection. And hey, give me more. I can hold you. I got you. I love you. Like that's healing, man. Like that's wholeness. Like that in and of itself. Like that happens. I mean, you don't need to go to years of therapy or even years of healing, so to speak. Again, everyone has their own path, and sometimes we need that and sometimes others don't, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's, some unknown forces that I say dictate that or drive that, but my point is it doesn't have to be that arduous forever.
Yeah, and a lot of it's just replicating the unconscious of it goes back to, like, if we never had repair, if we never had co-regulation as a kid, then we're going to be harder to self-regulate, but at the same time, everything your father never gave you, he gave you. Because you faced it.
Very well said. Yeah, for sure.